Hey Wastelanders, this is Gary, and today I thought about doing a quick look on this Artisan Proponent. It's in a full blackout tactical look, kind of look, except for the red. The red's not very tactical, but I would consider this a murdered out version of the Proponent. And very tactical looking. So I used to originally own the Smoky Mountain Knife Works exclusive in brass, but I gave it away during my 666 giveaway. It was a kind of a beast in brass. It was a very heavy knife. Unfortunately, I never reviewed it. I never got around to reviewing it because I really didn't want to review it because it was so heavy. I never carried it, and I never wanted to carry it. But I do remember weighing it later when I got a scale finally. It was close to 15 ounces. I think it measured, I seem to remember it was 14.9 ounces. Going off my somewhat fuzzy memory, I'm sure you can look it up. There's plenty of people probably did reviews on this brass proponent and other versions of the proponent. So let's go over the specs with this knife. It's in D2 steel. It's a Wharncliffe type blade, as you can see. Hopefully this is focusing. And it's a flat grind. It's a black PVD coating. I always want to know what it's coated with. So G10 scales, nice red surround. It's probably aluminum, I'm guessing. I haven't taken this apart. I didn't even take the brass one apart. So it has a liner lock. It's pretty stiff to disengage the liner lock. For the most part, the knife always flips out reliably, but you have to get used to it. You have to give it a little bit more oomph on your finger. You don't have to shake it out or give it a wrist or anything. You just have to like make sure you yank down hard or try to do the push button method because it's a very heavy blade, but it's on bearings, so there's that. I purchased this at White Mountain Knives, and I don't think they're available right now. I think it's currently sold out, but I got lucky and got one. The price was $69.99. It's free shipping, no taxes, and I use the LTK code, Love Them Knives, because I don't have a code of my own, which net me 10% off. I end up paying $63. That included free shipping and no taxes. So that to me is a win-win situation. Let's go over let's compare it, do some size comparisons using other knives. So I'm going to compare it to the Benchmade Bug Out as usual. From pivot to pivot, here's how it compares to the Bug Out. I'm going to compare it to the Kaiser Inya. It's a massive blade. So it's about the same size of the Kaiser Inya, but the handle is a little bit longer. So this handle is a 5-inch handle, and I believe the handle on the Kaiser Inya is a touch over 5 inches. Look for my review on the Kaiser Inya because I don't have the specs in front of me. So this, as I said, is 5 inches handle, and it's a 3.875 inches blade, so it like the Kaiser Inya, I do remember this was an 1/8 under 4 inches, and this is an 1/8 under 4 inches. So, which this knife is an overall 8.875 inches. It's just right about 9 inches, but it doesn't quite make it. The handle thickness is 0.63, so it's a beefy handle, beefy monster of a handle. It's almost like a fixed blade type thickness, which is 15.9 millimeters, and the blade thickness is 0.18. Putting that into perspective, if you remember that M2 Nessmuck I did a review on, that was the same size as the same thickness as the M2 Nessmuck. So I believe it's 4.8 millimeters, and the edge thickness is 0.03. So slicey, but not super slicey. That's 0.8 millimeters. But what I like most of all, it's 9.5 ounces. And believe me, that sounds like you wouldn't like a 9.5 ounce knife. But the brass one was 14.9 ounces. So this is a comfortable feeling knife compared to the brass one. And I have EDC this. I don't normally EDC this heavy a knife, but unless I'm EDCing a fixed blade or something, but I really like this blade. And let me show you something. I tried shaking this out earlier and just show you to see how the detent was. You can't shake it out, so it's got a strong detent. I remember when I had the brass one, I could shake it out. I don't know if I mean, the blade wouldn't have been any heavier, but it just, I think it didn't have a great detent. I remember flipping it out. I had to use a little wrist flip on this, but this knife I don't. So it's made better than the brass one, I assume. At least it's got a stronger detent. It's less weight. It's really cool in the tactical looking version. I think this knife is I'm proud that I got this knife. I really like this knife. Oh, I didn't mention, and I didn't pull it out. There's a little pin with some threads on the end that you stick in the hole. If you can see the hole, you can see the hole through my, you can see my hand coming through the hole. And there's a threaded pin that you put in the hole, and it has some threads on it, and you can screw it and lock it in place, and it rests on the other end. And essentially you turn it into a fixed blade, and it's a pretty thick pin. There's no closing this unless you probably want to break it. You did a code steel test and laid 800 pounds on it. I think the pin would, the knife would break some other way. Yeah, I like this knife. It's very generous. I mean, 5-inch handle. You can see I have a lot of room on the handle. And there's jimping on the top, all of the blade, but it's not the kind of jimping that would hold your finger in place. It's just decorative jimping. It's just like made to look cool, in my opinion. And as I said, though, the liner lock is super hard to disengage. I don't know if it will break in eventually. It doesn't stick. So I'm not too good at thumb stud flickers, but I can do this thumb stud because it's a great big thumb stud, and it seems to be in the right place. If you oh, I failed it. let's try that again. So yeah, so it's a great thumb stud flicker. I admit I use the flipper tab mostly. It's hard to disengage, and my thumb is about had it. But I use the flipper tab a lot. Yeah. The only negative I could see, it's still pretty heavy, and I think it's weight relieved in here. Let's see. Let's try to see. Yeah, there's some, you can't see it. I don't think you can see it. You can see just about there and there. It's weight relieved. It has big cutouts in the liners, but it's not weight relieved on the other side of the liners. So I don't know if that would have shaved an ounce off or not. I just believe the blade is so thick, and most of the heaviness is coming from the blade. So yeah, I don't mind it being heavy. I really like it. Let's try to disengage this. Yeah, let's show you how the centering is. If you can see, the centering is perfect. And let's check out the lockup. It's kind of dark being blacked out, so it's about, I would say it's about 50% lockup. So maybe that's being 50% lockup is hard to disengage. It doesn't have jimping on this lockup too, so you have to press your finger in there quite far to get in the disengage. So, but I really like it. I hope this was somewhat useful for you guys. I hope I encourage you to, if you like big tactical black knives, maybe pick it up. It's not expensive. I wouldn't consider it. If you get lucky at White Mountain Knives or get lucky somewhere else and they have a 10% off, you can't beat that. So I'm gonna let you guys go, and take care, Wastelanders. Bye bye.